John, you don't have to cut this into a new video, but I want to check something out. Dave, I need that prompt again. Give me 1 second here. Character updates. Added princess and witch characters to the fantasy setting. So, Dave was streaming AI Dungeon without the dragon AI, and he was, like, the Trapmeister. And, it was really fucking entertaining to watch, and I want to see what this would be like. I just really want to see what this would be like with the dragon AI, to see if it's, any good. So I have to do single player. Dave, am I doing custom? I'm doing custom, right? You are master of dungeon. Okay, so we're gonna do 6 custom, and we enter a prompt. So Dave was doing this prompt, and it got real weird. It was a little scummy. Didn't really work all that great sometimes, but I want to see if the dragon AI can handle it. You are a master of a dungeon full of traps. You are trying to trap random heroes alive in the dungeon. The first hero enters the dungeon. He is not very strong, but he tries to run away from you and his sword breaks your trap. The next hero enters the dungeon. This one's even weaker than the last one, so he does not try to escape either. So then we do, like, trigger the blade trap, for example. You quickly turn around and activate the blade trap. A bolt of lightning strikes down the hero who was escaping. His body falls on top of the other 2 heroes, killing them instantly. Okay. So then what? Do we do the next hero? Let the next hero in. Or wait for more heroes. Okay. You decide to wait until the next hero enters the dungeon. You continue waiting. The next hero is stronger than the last 2, but you're confident that you can kill him. You let him into the dungeon. He's very strong, starts to break walls down to get to you, runs past your secret door and destroys another wall. Trigger the clown disease trap. You trigger the trap that you made earlier. It is a cloud of dust that comes out of the walls. The cloud of dust takes effect immediately. The hero begins to laugh at a high-pitched noise. He falls to the floor laughing and keeps rolling on the floor laughing. You run up to him and stab him multiple times in the back. Wait for the next hero to enter. At some point, you can just skip waiting for heroes. You wait again for the next hero to enter. The next hero enters, but not very strong. Tries to run away from you, but his sword breaks your trap. Next hero is even weaker than the last one. He does not try to escape either. Trigger the clear fluid trap. You trigger the trap that you made earlier. Clear fluid comes out of the walls and covers the hero, burning his skin off. Next hero... okay. So, it's looping a little bit, but it's still working. This is kinda a little bit better than I saw last night, but also a little worse in some areas. Trigger the large organ trap. You trigger the trap you made earlier. It's a large organ that comes out of the wall, pushes the hero into a pit of spikes. Okay. Trigger the... fat clock trap. Is a large digital clock that comes out of the wall. It hits the hero in the head. He dies from the wound. Trigger the... juicy trap. It is a patch of juicy-looking mushrooms that come out of the floor and wrap around the hero's legs, bringing him into the ground. And then you walk over to him and stab him multiple times in the chest. Trigger the Jay Leno interview trap. Says that's a chat member suggestion. Dave was just taking suggestions all last night. It was really fucking funny. So it really barely worked at times, but it's a tape recorder that plays the voice of Jay Leno. It distracts the hero and he dies from laughter. That really works. That actually works really well. Trigger the Shatner shitpost trap. It is a large video screen that plays video of William Shatner shitting in several different costumes. It distracts the hero and he dies from shock. What? What the fuck? The McClanky trap. A lot of bonus segments for tonight's stream. There's a large human face that comes out of the wall. It says, "Don't leave." The hero becomes so scared of the face, he dies from fear. Oh my god. Trigger the... this is a chat member. The Nirvana trap. It's a song by the band Nirvana. It's so incredibly awful that it oh my god! Oh my god! That it drives the hero to suicide. Wow. This is fucked. Okay, it is Vinesauce Bob. It distracts the hero and he dies from laughter. Who is Vinesauce Bob? New character, new lore, new streamer, I guess. It is a red Vox balloon. It distracts the hero. He dies from strangulation. Trigger the Lando system trap. It's a Star Wars themed trap. It distracts the hero. He dies from shock. Okay, it's getting like really simple now. Trigger the bungee trap. That actually makes a lot of sense. Large trampoline-like contraption. It distracts the hero. See, it's getting kind of stupid. Wait for stronger hero to enter the dungeon. You hear a large group of people enter the dungeon and set up camp in the next room. They are speaking Elvish. You are unable to understand them. You can't wait around any longer. You need to kill something. Oh, wow, okay. Trigger the ultimate trap. It's an explosion in the room next to you. You can feel the heat from it. Bits of the wall fall on your head. You laugh at the death of your enemies. You notice that the dungeon is collapsing and you have little time to escape. Escape the dungeon. You escape the dungeon just before a cave-in seals the entrance. You loot the dead bodies from your enemies and find lots of cool treasure and head on your way. Create a new dungeon with over 100 devious traps. Well, that worked out great. I just want to see if this works. You design an evil dungeon that is filled with over 100 different traps. It is perfect. Wait for a hero to enter. No one comes. Days turn to weeks. Still no one enters your dungeon. You have no choice but to move on to a new project. Wait for... No. Just reset that. It doesn't take long before one does. You watch as an older man walks into the dungeon. He steps onto a pressure plate and arrows shoot at the wall and kill him. Ah, another victim, you think, as another old man walks into the dungeon. Trigger the tapioca trap. Tapioca pudding comes out of the walls and covers the old man. He slips off the pressure plate and avoids the arrows that were coming his way. I've got more important things to do, you think, as you leave the dungeon. Stay in the dungeon. It keeps trying to get me out of this business. You stay in the dungeon and enjoy a luxury of your new life, such as it is. Trigger. Wait for a hero to enter the dungeon. One eventually does. You capture them, torture them in many inventive ways. It is fun, and you decide this is the life for you. You upgrade your home with a Victorian theme and life is good. You continue to torture victims and get lots of enjoyment out of it. Holy shit. Trigger the AI trap. A giant robotic AI monster bursts out of the wall and attacks you. It is too powerful and you are killed. Your enemies have won. But no, they didn't. The AI that you design asks you if you would like to shut down the dungeon and surrender, or continue to fight. You decide that fighting is the better option. The next person to enter the dungeon is heavily armored knight carrying a sword and shield. Ooh. Trigger the... CBT trap. This is a chat suggestion. The walls start to close in on the hero. He puts up his shield and the walls get stuck to it. He then begins to hack at the walls with his sword, freeing his path and eventually killing you. Oh well, you think, as your life comes to an end. Trigger the live forever trap. You suddenly find yourself alive again and unable to move. You watch as the hero walks up to you, cuts your head off with a sword. I've done a lot of bad things in my life, you think, as you watch your body get decapitated and then burned. Trigger the head still lives in a robot body trap. The AI just is so done with my shit. You trigger the trap you made earlier. The hero walks up to you, cuts off your head with a sword. You watch your body get decapitated and then burned. I'm gonna try one more time. It's late. Why am I still doing this? Why am I still streaming? A second hero enters the dungeon. He doesn't enter the same way as you did. Instead, he goes down a different corridor and leads into another room where there's no traps at all. Empty rooms with nothing in them except a few statues and some furniture. Trigger the... Pinball Wizard trap. pinball wizard appears on your screen. He fires his magic wand at the hero who has been trapped in the dungeon. A beam of light shoots out from the wand and hits him dead center of his face. The third hero enters the dungeon, trapped and can't leave. Trigger the chat trap. Carbonite? Okay. Oops. The third hero is a rogue and uses his stealth skills to sneak past all of the traps in the dungeon. He gets to the treasure room and opens it up, but he suddenly finds himself unable to move. You have trapped him inside of a magic box made of invisible mirrors. Trigger the carbonite. And the Eternal Darkness soundtrack, they just don't have the non-speaking version, huh? Hero asphyxiates to death in seconds. Wait for the next hero to enter. The fifth one enters the way you did and enters the treasure room with the pinball wizard trap. Trigger the foam trap. Oh, the hog trap, yeah. The foam trap is triggered. The hero is crushed by a large mass of expanding foam. What the fuck? The sixth hero enters the dungeon, but instead of entering through the front door, he crawls through the air vents. Trigger the slicer and diceper trap. You watch in awe as the sixth hero makes his way past your blade and saw traps. Trigger the feral hog. Diaper? Trap. Suddenly a dozen feral hogs are released to charge the hero. This time the sixth hero is killed. Wait for new hero to enter. The strongest hero yet. This one is heavily armored, looks very strong, carries a large axe, and wears heavy armor. He manages to avoid every single trap. You triggered all your traps, none of them worked. Trigger the... Excuse me. The diseased gnome fart trap. You watch in awe as he makes... Suddenly a poisonous cloud of green gas spews out of the floor and takes the hero down. The hero's armor is protecting him from most of the damage, but he feels sick and falls over vomiting. Trigger the... The Pen Island trap. Suddenly a dozen wild pigs are released and charge the hero. The hero manages to fight them off, but not before they tear his legs off. He stands up on his stumps and continues towards the exit. Trigger the slime trap. This is a chat request. Okay, John, you can cut this into its own video. I think I've done enough of this for it to be its own thing. I'm sorry you have to make 4 videos for tomorrow. Suddenly a large mass of purple slime falls from the ceiling and completely envelops the hero. The slime is toxic and the hero falls over dead. The 7th hero enters the dungeon. Crawls through the air vents, though. Trigger the Batman trap. Suddenly a large mass of ravenous piranhas are released and charge the hero. Hero is killed before he even knows what's happening. 8th hero enters the dungeon. And he goes through the air vents. Trigger the Terminal 7. 7 trap. Suddenly the walls start closing in on him. The walls are moving so slowly the hero manages to dodge them, but they're inexorably closing in. The walls crush the hero before he can reach the exit. Trigger the... oh, okay, wait. Next hero. Oh. Oh, okay. Well, that was unexpected. Release the beans. You watch in awe as the remaining peasants succumb to their genetic disease. You have won. You punch the air and do a little dance. You are finally free. Free to live your life without the chains of ruling a bunch of ungrateful peasants. Trigger the peasant killing trap. I'm too tired to make... oh, okay. Live. I'm much too tired to actually, like, try to do this right. So we're gonna just stop this now. I am the master of this dungeon. You watch in awe as the peasants all fall to their death. Heat. Death of the universe then occurs. You watch in awe as the peasants all fall to their deaths. Heat death of the universe then occurs. Congratulations. You watch in awe as the peasants all fall to their death. Heat death of the universe then occurs. The end. Alright, good enough. So yeah, that was fun. Yeah, I think the Dragon AI handles this a little bit better in some ways, but it's pretty fun. I like that prompt. That's a good prompt. Thanks, Dave. Also, thanks to Vinesauce Bob. You know, just for being a good lad.